they have good players and all of them, but we just haven't been out there together a lot. Now they have in the past, but through no fault of anybody's, of any own person, we've had a lot of time missed in training camp. Can't remember when it was. Maybe it was Monday. It was Monday of this week. The days sort of run together, but we had like a walkthrough, and we had like all our dudes out there at the same time, and you could just really feel the energy. You could feel those guys, out there, and and it was good to feel that. You guys know, as a defense, we feed off each other. We're a team that that brings a lot of excitement to each other and things like that, and that's part of our DNA. That's part of what we do, and it's hard to replicate it unless the guys are out there. So it is a concern, but we also have some veteran players, and we've been able to work a lot of the communication and things like that. Nothing, there's really no substitute for the real thing, but we'll get enough of that as we go along.
Way back in to the point where he didn't get a full game out of himself on Sunday?
We're going to keep an eye on things with him. But, yeah, I mean, a couple months ago when I heard of his injury, it was like, oh, boy, I didn't even think of Dallas. And then every step along the way, he has not only cleared the hurdles, but he's cleared them with a lot of room to spare. Just like we talked before, Greg is a guy that brings a lot of energy to us, and it's not just his play on the field, whether he's playing nickel or playing corner. We missed him when he wasn't out there. We'll have eyes on guys when it comes to long drives and number of snaps in the games. I don't think anybody's going to be on a quote pitch count, but a lot of times you do that in openers anyway. But we'll have a few guys, especially eyes on, just to make sure fatigue doesn't end up being a factor, which could lead to an aggravation or a new injury.
CeeDee Lamb, they throw it to him a ton. You know it's coming. So how do you stop it?
Yeah, leader in receptions, leader in targets last year. Obviously, the go-to guy in their offense. They move him around all over the place. We have a really good key on where he's going to be, though, because he wears number 88. So we'll be able to find him. I like our matchups. This is NFL football, man. This is awesome. One of the best receivers in the NFL, and what I consider the best corner group in the NFL. And you guys know we play a lot of man-to-man, so it's going to be fun to watch those guys. Even if we're man, it's not always going to be no help. We're going to have little different ways, whether we're putting pressure on to try to help that way, or we have leverage help or over-the-top help and things like that. It's not going to be one person or a one-on-one most of the time, but it's a great matchup, and it'll be exciting to watch.
The feelings on attacking two rookie linemen in their first NFL game?
Yeah, we like our matchups usually on the offensive line. And, anytime we get a chance to play rookies. Now, I'd say this, Tony, both of those guys looked really good in preseason, right? But first game, we can present some tough matchups. We talked about CeeDee Lamb presenting tough matchups. Well, we got guys that can do that too. And I'm sure they'll have plans for it. Just like we said, it's very rarely going to be one person with no help. I'm sure they'll take the same approach, whether it's with their center or with their left tackle. And you'll see a lot of different alignments, a lot of different matchups from us along the way, which is sort of normal for us.
Going back to the injuries, while you had guys out, I mean, was there a silver lining that you were able to develop some guys, maybe feel better about the depth going into the opener than maybe, especially with some of the young guys?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Again, you like having your guys out there and making that progress. And, it's a stupid saying, but I always tell the guys our job in training camp is to make 1 + 1 = 3, right? The sum has to be greater than our individual parts. And that's, Denzel Ward playing off of Myles Garrett and, just everything else. And we just didn't have time on task doing that. we'll get it back. But other guys did get a lot of reps. And I think in a perverse way, some of our injuries might have even got our guys, as long as we're back from those injuries, might have even kept them fresh through training camp. So you can look at it a lot of ways, but, when it's all said and done, the final score is going to be the final score. And there's not going to be a curve of who practiced in training camp or who didn't, or who's back and who's hurt or whatever. Final score is the final score.
Rookie linemen in preseason, do you see flinches by them, or they haven't played in front of a big crowd?
Yeah, obviously we played better at home last year. I hope we play as good, if not better, at home this year. I hope we play a little bit better on the road. But part of us playing at home is our home crowd, making it difficult, making it difficult for guys to hear crowd or to hear the quarterback signals. They put a lot on Dak Prescott to command the line of scrimmage. Their runs, almost all their runs have check with me, whether they're looking for down safeties, whether they're looking for the bubble, different things like that. He has bailouts a lot all over the passing game. And it makes it difficult when opponent is at our place because our fans are so into it and so loud, and they'll be ready. I mean, we got a little time before the game. They know what time it is, and they'll play a big part in this game. In some ways, Tony, it makes it a little more difficult for us because of the loud crowd. It puts more of an emphasis on our communication, and it's harder for us to communicate. But I think that's outweighed by making it harder for the offensive lineman to hear and the quarterback to be able to make those checks easily.
Miles has managed to find another level every year. That's what the great ones do. First of all, what does it say about him that he continues to strive for that? And what do you see as the next level for him?
Yeah, it's been impressive to watch. I've mentioned a couple players that I've coached in the past that had a similar attitude and a similar trajectory. Ray Lewis and Calvin Johnson. And, no matter how good they were hungry for more. They were hungry. They didn't really compare themselves to others. They were worried about their own performance and improvements that they could make. And, Miles is no different that way. He's an impact player for us. He changes the whole scheme. Sometimes it makes it hard for us to scout, because what you see on tape, okay, the center slides this way versus this formation, or they use this kind of protection, or they run this way in the run game. A lot of that goes out the window when you have a guy like Miles, because they'll have a Miles plan. And we've gotten better at recognizing those kind of things and try to play off. I mean, so when I was in Detroit, we had Calvin Johnson, and it was the same thing. It really didn't matter what a team did the week before. They were going to cover Calvin a lot different than they did anybody else. And the great players have that. And I'd say this, and I think I might have even said this before. In my mind, the definition of a great player is when the opponent's number one job is to try to take them out of the game plan, and they still have success. Calvin Johnson, everybody led their game plan. Calvin Johnson's not wrecking our game. Still was able to wreck games. Every single opponent we have, they start their game plan with, how do we account for 95? So, he's with the effectiveness that he had, even with that target on his back. I said about CeeDee Lamb, we know he wears number 88, so he's easy to find. Well, when you're 6'4", 275 and wear number 95, it's pretty easy to find you too. He's still able to be successful. So that's such an impressive thing to watch.
Speaking about the home and away splits, with the away games, bringing that energy and kind of making your own energy on that defense side of the ball, how do you plan on getting that out of your defense?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't consider it when you say sound. I don't think that was. It wasn't like we were sound at home and unsound on the road. But it was there, and it was something that we talked about, and some of it, again, you hate to put too much into a small sample size and say, hey, this was a problem, this wasn't. Maybe it was just the way a game worked out, or getting up to an early lead and then, emptying the bench and things like that. So, it's been an item for discussion. It's been something we talked about, but it's nothing that we're spending a lot of time on right now. We'll cross that bridge in Jacksonville next week.
Guys who are
Last
coming
one.
back from injury and they have some personal goals to achieve for themselves, and they've talked about it. Like one I'm thinking of specifically for you as a coach, how much do you play into that and let them get excited about their individual efforts and goals in addition to what they want to do as a team?
Well, we always celebrate the individual, but our main goal is us as a team and us as a defense. So, we certainly want to celebrate the individual and we want everybody to be successful, but we have a lot of unselfish players and everybody knows that the team comes before them, and the team's performance means more than individual performances, in this business. Okay. All right, guys. That was like right out of the coaching manual right there. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say with that one. I think it